Saluga project will fix that for you.
So I'm gonna go to Korra directly after this. I just wanted to show those mods for Nyx. So those mods that were on that Nyx are the mods you want to put on for the all-rounder. So rewind this video and then just look at the mods I have on for Nyx. Of course, you can put on any, but we're talking about all-rounder Nyx, not tank Nyx or not 100% CC Nyx, which you were required to have like 280 range. This is an all-rounder Nyx, which you don't have to have that much range, but you still need to have lots of range, and you still need to have a decent amount of tank as well. So it has this all-rounder is a combination of both range and tank. Now, now the thing is, if they fix Nyx's ability, which means that you don't need power strength for the enemy to be fully influenced um, by the psychic mind melding attack of the third ability, then it's beautiful because then it won't be taking away from her using her mind control strength of her powers to use mind control. It will work regardless of how strong the enemy is. So if that's the case, then I thank them for changing that. But if it's not the case, and I go fight, let's say level 135 enemies, and they just brush off, they just brush off the psychic attack for mind control, and that means that was never fixed, and it's still the same, which means it's still pointless. It's still a pointless ability, and you should substitute the third power for a better crowd control. That's if they didn't fix it. So I'm just assuming that they didn't fix it, and the third ability is still the same. as you can see, they didn't fix the whole enemy can still shoot you with the third ability if you're close to them. So that's not fixed. So if that's not fixed, I'm assuming that the power strength, which influenced the third ability, isn't fixed either. Which means it's best to subsume another Warframe and replace the third ability for a better crowd control, rather than get rid of your fourth. A lot of people say the fourth is useless, but to be honest with you, the fourth ability is the only thing that would keep you alive, like say if you're fighting Prophet Taker. If you fight Prophet Taker with a Nyx, you will never die. Period. So you would never want to get rid of something that would keep you alive as an immortal. Like you could use Nyx against any boss in this game because they literally cannot take down her fourth ability shields unless a null disable the shields, or an acolyte, a stalker acolyte disable your shields. So yeah, that's how good Nyx's fourth ability is. So when people say substitute her fourth ability, like have you even tried to fight Prophet Taker with Nyx by herself? I've seen dudes fight Prophet Taker with Nyx by herself using the fourth and a assimilate mod. So yeah, people who say remove fourth, they're kind of dumb, or at least they don't understand how to use her kit.
Extraction is now available.
All right, so that was Nyx. About the only thing I didn't show was the second ability, and I guess I didn't show the fourth because it wasn't necessary to show the fourth because I can't move around in the using the fourth because the assimilate mod isn't on for the all rounder. So the only thing that wasn't shown was the second and the fourth, and there's no need to show the second and the fourth because I guess, well, actually, let me show it. Let me show it real quick. I'll do a quick mission and I'll show it. I don't even need to do a hard mission. I'll do an easy mission. I'll do a quick exterminate mission. And it's necessary for me to show this. Because, like, if you start fighting heavy enemies, then you'll definitely want to put on your fourth. Like, I see people who are really pro gamers. They eventually die once or twice. Like, once they start fighting enemies that are above level 100. And then they blame it on them playing like a noob. But the truth is, there's the time duration of when you can activate a power and when you can't. Like, you can't just tap the button and then all of a sudden the character turns on the power. There's an animation set in order for the character to first do the power. Like, if I do the if I do the third ability now, like this, she go like this with her arm. She swings her arm and then she throws out her arm. That's an animation set. If I do the second ability, it will lock onto an enemy. You have to aim it to an enemy and then cast the ability like this. So she moves her hand backwards and then she throws her hand forwards. Those are called animation sets. So you have to count how long it takes for them to do the animation set. So it's not something as simple as just doing the powers. You have to see how much seconds it takes for them to do the animation set.
The relic has been cracked open. Finish your mission to find out what's inside. The Juggernaut. I think you made it angry. Good work. Heavy infestation ahead. You have broken their ranks and they are on the run. Another successful mission. Find extraction.
Okay, so this is the fourth ability. Now, if you notice, they can't hit me or they can't do anything and I won't be a damage. But at the same time, I can't switch to melee. I can't do anything. The only thing I can do is go into my gears. And even in the fourth ability, once my fourth is on, I can't select an item from the gear slot. So even if I wanted to select an item from the gear slot, like say put down health or put down energy or throw down a bot, I can't do it once the fourth ability is on. So that's why people put assimilate on, because you could then throw down bots when the simulator is on. And you could then do melee damage when assimilate on. And you could shoot enemies when assimilate is on. That's why assimilate mod for Nyx is essential. Because the fourth ability is pretty much useless until you put on assimilate. That's why a lot of people say the fourth ability is pointless. But those people are talking about the fourth ability standard. They're not talking about the fourth ability with assimilate on. The fourth ability is godsend if you can move with the fourth ability. So that's all I got to say about that. You can shoot with the fourth ability. You use melee damage with the fourth ability. You could put down energy pads with the fourth ability. You could do so many things with the fourth ability once you have the assimilate mod on. That's why I don't pay attention to anyone that says get rid of the fourth. because that's the whole point of having assimilate mod, is to use with the fourth. Okay, so that was Nyx. Going straight to Korra now. So now we're selecting Korra. Alright, so I'll talk quickly about Korra's kit, Korra Prime's kit. And Korra Prime's whole thing. Okay, so this is my first. I'll show my setup for Korra Prime, and okay. So this is my setup for Korra Prime. This is not the best range. You want more range, to be honest with you. But for an all-rounder, this is decent. Typically, you always want your range for your Korra to go beyond 45, especially if you're doing defense or mobile defense or interception, because I would say that's the bare minimum range you want to have on any Warframe anyway. But typically, you will want to have at least a little bit more bigger bubble than this for your Korra. But at the same time, you don't want to remove the power strength, because here's the thing. If you throw down the Strangle Dome, the Strangle Dome is based on several things. It's based on range, it's based on damage per second, and it's based on duration. So if you remove the power strength, the damage per second goes down. If you remove the duration, the time for which the enemy stays floating goes down, or the time for which it grabs enemy goes down. So the more power strength you have, the stronger it can grab more powerful enemies. So the more power strength you put on your Warframe, the more it has power to pull powerful enemies towards it, as well as the more it could do damage towards those enemy once it's pulled them in it. And higher the ranges, the better off you will be towards getting enemies not to destroy your defense target, or not to interrupt and not intercept, yeah, not to interrupt an interception beacon relay, or a mobile defense, or something like even something like extraction or excavation. You don't want your enemies to get close to excavation drill that's going into the ground. So the best way to do that is to make sure you grab enemies from a decent range. It doesn't have to be a great range, but it has to be a decent range where if the enemy comes close to your 155, they don't even have to be within the bubble. If they get close to the bubble will use its chains and grab enemy from a distance and pull them into the bubble. So you have the bubble range, which is the range that the bubble's in. Just in case an enemy bypass the bubble and get inside, they'll be able to be grabbed inside as well. So it could grab enemy and pull them into the bubble, as well as pull enemies already in the bubble as well. So that's the thing about her dome. Her pull ratio, or should I say her pull distance, it's much greater than is her pull distance is greater than the distance of how her bubble looks once you throw it up. So if her bubble looks like it's big, it means her pull distance is much bigger than how her pull is much bigger than how her bubble looks. So it's very difficult to say these things. All right, so imagine that her bubble is a big snow bubble, like frost or something. Her pull distance would be, I would say, 25% more. No, not even. I would say 35% more. Like it will pull enemies from. Well, no, that's not true. 25% more. So even let's say her bubble is 145, the pull towards the bubble will be an extra 25% towards that 145 bubble range. So it's not technically 145. It's more like it's 160 or something. I guess if you want to say it that way. 160, 165, but it doesn't go beyond 170. Or let's say, for instance, your bubble is a straight up 100. It's not great. That extra 25 for the change to go out, grab the enemy, will be anywhere from 25 additional range to about 30 additional range. Yeah, so that's all I got to say about that. Um, that's our bubble. You need to build it for strength. You need to build it for duration. You need to build it for range. But the range don't have to be ridiculously big. But the duration has to be ridiculously big. Because you want to keep enemies in the air so they die. And once they're dead, the chains will grab new enemies and pull them in after the enemies that are already in there are dead. So it kills the enemies that are hanging inside the bubble, and then once they're dead, the chains goes out again and grab new enemies and pull them in, and they're pulled in and they're strangled until they're dead, and then it grabs new enemies. It's like the bubble has a mind of its own. So that's why you want duration to be long and you want strength to be high, so that it could keep killing enemies extremely quick while staying up at the same time. So for this duration, I say this is pretty good, and the strength is pretty good, and the range might be not so good. But since I'm going to have an additional 25% range grab for the change to grab out, it's more like it's 170, 175, 176. I would say it's 176. So 176 is good. Yeah, I would say it's 170. Maybe let's say I'm off. It's only 20%. It still would be 151 plus 20% more grab for the change themselves. So that's good. Where I am right now, I'm beyond 145, so I'm good. Technically, 145 isn't great. You want to be like at 160 and then have your dome grab higher. But if you have it at 145, you're still good. You just can't let the enemies get too close. That's why I try to go beyond 145. Let me see if I could get it past 150 and see where my strength will be. If my strength is here, where my strength is right here, right now. My strength is 397. If I could keep it in, if I could keep it at 350, if it doesn't drop below 350, I'm golden. I don't mind it dropping to about 350. I don't mind it dropping to 350, but I don't want it to drop below 350. Okay, so now I'm 160. So this is where I want to be. So now I'm at 372. So okay, so I'm fine. So this is great. This is where I want to be. I'm at a decent range. I have decent ability strength. Um, Technically, I don't know. I mean, I'm saying I'm okay with this, but I typically always want my Warframes to have an ability strength of 200. So let me show you. If I remove this completely, this will be the 200. So now I have to figure out a way to get that 166 with just 91 here. And even if I throw on other mods, it won't do it. It won't get me to where I need to get to. That's why I say it's fine to have more duration than it is to have range, because that's what you'll need probably more than anything anyway. Um, that's why I said the 150. I need to do more damage. That's why I say the 151 is fine. Because the more damage you do towards an enemy, the faster it is for them to die. And at least I'm at 155 above. I mean, the standard is in anything. If you're at 155, you're good for an all-rounder. But typically, you always want to be at 200 so you could do heavy damage towards enemies that are level 100. But you could struggle past with 155 anyway. So I'm good where I am right now. if I knock it down to like if I increase it to more range, it's gonna go to like 149, and I don't want it at 149. Yeah, I don't want it here. I want it to be past the 150 range for ability strength, and I want it to be past the 150 range for range itself. So this is the setup you want for your Korra. I mean, technically you want her duration to be ridiculously high, but when you want her duration to be ridiculously high, that's not for all-rounder Korra anymore. That's for tank Korra. Now, you're probably saying like which is the Warframe that's the modification that on the Warframe that's best for your survival all round? That will be tank. But if you're talking about all rounder, a Warframe that could do any mission or most missions, then you go for all rounders because they could do most missions. Like you can't take Korra in a spy mission unless you build her for doing spy missions. You can't take Korra on interception missions unless you build her for having decent range. You can't take Korra on, like, say, an I don't know, a boss fight unless you build her for having good damage and then stun ratio, or at least uh, repairing yourself fast enough with health regen when fighting a boss. Or you can't say you can't use Korra for something like Railjack, whereas it's not about I mean, it's not about range. It's not about boss fight. It's about the timing based on the mission objective. Like, say there's a timer above your head and it's counting down how fast you could do something. So speed. So you need an all-rounder. That's why they're called all-rounders that could do many different things. That could juggle many different balls at the same time. Juggling balls at the same time, and or wear many different hats, like wear a clown hat, or wear a jester hat, or wear a top hat, or wear a military hat. You wear various different hats on your head for the type of situation that you're going to be in. That's what an all-rounder is. If you're just wearing a hat for tank, then you try to go to a spy mission, you'll fail majority of the time. Or if you're trying to be a tank, because a tank can survive longer, but you're trying to use a tank in a survival mission where it requires you to reach a survival point, activate it, or keep up the amount of energy. So for the survival mission, then he's going to fail because it's not about him being a tank. It's about killing a majority of enemy in a large crowd control area rather than just running around and killing enemies by yourself. You got to CC all the enemies to get enough energy to keep up the pool of energy needed for a timer on survival. Same as timer for um, onslaught. You need to keep up the amount of people dead. So Samaris would say, well, he needs more efficiency. So tank who could take a lot of shots can't do something like onslaught. That's why I say I don't listen to people who said, well, tank is the only thing that matters. It doesn't. You can't use a tank on onslaught because you will only go to a certain zone in onslaught with a tank. So that's why you need to have all rounders, or at least good CCs, crowd controls. That's why I'm using this all rounder right here. So now I'm going to test Korra in mission, and if it requires me to put on the timing of the dome timing is 41. I typically want my dome to be at least 50, so it's near to a full minute active. So I might need to increase my duration higher than this. But mind you, if I increase my duration higher than this, um, my power for my range is going to decrease, and I don't want that. That's 139 is no good. But um, if I increase this, then my power strength goes down. So in a situation like this, you have to remove prime sure footed and you have to put more power strength here in order for it to work. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put more power strength here in order to at least get it back up to 150. It probably won't be at 150. It'll probably be at 149 or something. Um, or maybe not even. If I could even get it there. Let's see what we have here. Okay, there we go. And that's fine. That's 169 at 150. That's perfect. And I guess the mod at the top. Okay, so now you put something like prime sure footed here. That's if we had enough capacity. But we don't, so I'm just going to throw in anything that will work for the moment. But you don't throw in anything here. You either put coaxial drift here, or you put prime sure footed here. Especially prime sure footed fighting strong enemies. So I'm just going to put this in here for example. So now let's look at our duration. Okay, so it was at 140 and now it's 5 seconds more. Like, how is that? I have 25%. I would say no, 20% more. I have like 20% more duration and I only get 5 more seconds for that. Oh man, that's it's transient fortitude, that's why. Transient fortitude. Let's decrease transient. Let's see what happens. 46. Okay, you know what? I'll keep it at 40. I'll keep it at 40. I'll keep it at 40 because this is disgusting. This is not good whatsoever. It's not good. Extremely not good. That is no good. No good beans. At least we got an extra 5% more towards duration period. But yeah, this is the build. This is what you go for with regards to Korra. Of course, you don't need this. Prime shot footage should always be here, and prime flow should always be within the mix. Okay, there. So since I don't have efficiency mod here, like streamline or fleeting, I need to have prime shot footed here to give me a vast amount of energy, and energy from here as well. And firing rate shotguns. Am I carrying a shotgun? No, I'm not. Now you can switch out that mod and put anything in there, but for right now, since I'm part of the Steel Meridian Syndicate, I'm going to put on the Steel Meridian shotgun and have on the Arcane that does more firing rate for Steel Meridian. So yeah, I'll test out this Korra and I'll see how it goes. Oh, I almost forgot. Let me see something. I don't want to stay too long on this because I really have to jump on Revenant. And I wasn't supposed to even be on Warframe today anyway. Do I have to hold on any buttons to do a hold attack ability? I don't believe Korra, based on what I remember from the past, she doesn't have any hold abilities. She just have standard execute abilities, but no holding. Oh no, she does have a hold. Venari is her hold. Venari does several things. Um, he does attack, he does protect, he does um, shield replenish. So see, attack, protect, heal. So yeah, protect allows Venari to recharge shields. Attack allows Venari to attack the enemy. Venari has high critical chance as well. Heal allows Venari to heal you. Okay, so this is the only press down. So you want to switch this with one of your press down buttons. So you go into options and then you select the press down button. So your sprint will now be your seal ability. Okay. So, and the beautiful part about Korra is that she could have more than one pet in her mission because Korra comes with a default pet because that default pet is part of her powers. Venari is one of her arcane powers or one of her void powers is to have I guess you it's weird in a way. She's the first Warframe to ever have a pet that's a power, like a void type power. It's like it's a second arm. It's like this is kind of like a bot, but it's kind of like her at the same time. It's like Venari is actually Korra, but it's actually Venari. Like it's like this how would I say it? It's like Red Wing. It's like Red Wing is to, Falcon. It's like Red Wing's Falcon, or Falcon is to Red Wing in the Avenger series. So that's how Venari is to Korra. So that's the best way to describe it. And you always want to make sure Venari have on all his mods. So Venari doesn't have any mods on right now, so I got to put on Venari his proper mods, and to make sure he's set correctly the way I want him to be set. Don't need scavenge on. Don't need loot on. Don't need this on. What I do need is for Venari to do a lot of damage and to make sure it protects itself as well and to heal. Okay, so I might have to form a Venari a couple of times. So what I'll do right now is I'll form a Venari once in order to get Venari up to where I need to get Venari up. Otherwise, because if Venari could do high critical chances, look at Venari's critical chance is 85. That's incredible, and that's his that's in combination with this. So if you remove this, her Venari's pet critical chance is just 20, and her status is 30. So just a little bit of critical chance increase it by a great amount. But Venari's main thing, her main kit, is status. 30 status, 20 crit. So status, build Venari for status and multipliers. So that's what you're going to do. So you put on the crit, or it's up to you if you decide to want to put on status. I'm going to put on status, and then I'll work my way towards crit. But it's bizarre though. Like when you put on crit, you see the crit is you have to build up the crit. Like when you put on that one mod, that one, I mean not crit. When you put on status, you have to creep up the status. But that one mod, that one crit mod, which is bite, just boost up your critical chance by a vast amount. See, look at this. Just this one mod already gets you to like 85%. Whereas the other mods, you have to put like 2 mods in there. That's why I prefer to have it at crit right now. Then, I mean, I want to increase it because this pet is a status pet. But if the crit is greater than the status, then obviously you're going to go for the crits. And since I don't want to waste time because I got to get to Mesa, I'm going to speed up as fast as I can. And this cat, okay, so I have to go to Hydrons because I have to level Venari up. Okay. Anything else? I don't want Venari to die a lot in mission, but at the same time, need health. Bleed out. Okay, so yeah, I'll have this on. Oh, yep, I'll have this on. All right. All right, so we'll get this done real quick. I'll show all of Korra's abilities on Hydron, and as soon as I get back from Hydron, I'm going to go straight to Mesa. So it should only take me like I'm only going to stay in Hydron for like 5 minutes to show Korra's abilities. Just 5 minutes.
Our position has been compromised. Defend the cargo until reinforcements arrive.
All right, so all right, so what I'm doing now is I'm using the first ability on the Strangle Dome. And if you cast your first ability on the Scramble Dome, and you keep whipping this Strangle Dome with your first ability, which is the whip, you make your Strangle Dome more potent, which means allow it to become stronger and allow it to grab enemies much easier. So if your duration is up good, but you feel like you're not grabbing enemies enough in time, you just strengthen your Strangle Dome towards damage by hitting it with your first ability. But you got the thing is about it, you have to aim precisely at it. So what you want to do is never aim towards a single one. Aim towards the incline or where the connective markers are, the fork in the road, the joints, the connected joints. And then you make it strong there. But remember, you must, since we don't have on um, fleeting expertise or streamline, we have to be careful about how much energy we are spending per each time we use our whip or any of our abilities. So that's something to consider. Even if you have prime flow on, you still have to consider how many times you're going to use an ability. So my consideration for you to do is if you're going to use your abilities over and over again, wait for prime flow to kick in and then use it again. Like do your whip once prime flow kick in. Because prime flow gives you 150 energy in return. So you just wait for prime flow to kick in, then you start using your powers again. So you use your powers once, cast a couple of times to make it stronger. 2, 3, and then you wait for prime flow to kick in. And if you need to use another power, like say if you take heavy damage, use another power. But once you see your powers, your energy goes down to about 25%, you should stop using powers and focus on fighting. You don't want it to drop below 25% of energy. You always want to have that extra energy reserve, just in case you'll need it for like repairing yourself from heavy damage or to use it for something else at the last moment. I'll stay for another 5 minutes because I forgot to show off the other powers. So just one more 5 minutes. So that was the fourth and that was the first. Now I'll show the second and the third. This is the third. So you count how long it'll take for them to be confused. And the great part about the third is if you cast your first on while using the third, while the second is on, cast your first strangle. Cast your second ability's powers on an enemy. And then use your whip claw, your first ability, on the same enemy or on another enemy. What it will do, it will pull the enemy towards the enemy that has the claws around them. So even if you just grab one enemy and put the second ability on them, if you use your whip claw on multiple enemies that are near him, it will pull them all together towards that enemy. And they will all be roped together. So that's a nice little ability she has. See, it ropes them together. And you don't even need to be honest, if you have good ability strength, sometimes you don't even need to do it. Like right now, if I do it right now, if an enemy is near him, they all get pulled near. You see? They all get pulled near if you have good ability strength. However, once you lack ability strength, that's when it becomes a problem and you will need to use your first whip claw in order to do it. And of course Venari's in attack mode right now. So now I'm going to use my third ability and switch her attack mode into keep regenerating shields mode. Because my health is good right now. So now I'm in protect mode, so Venari will come to my aid whenever I start to lose heavy shields. So I don't need to have Venari in protect mode because everything is pretty kosher right now. So I could just have her in heal mode if I need health in return. She'll still be attacking enemies, but she'll run to my assistance the moment my health starts going down. Which will probably not happen right now. So might as well keep her on attack mode.
That's the last of them. Objective
Yeah,
is
that was
secure. Let's go home.
that was basically Cora's kit. So I had to turn down the volume because if I didn't turn on the volume, you wouldn't be able to hear what I was trying to say with regards to describing her abilities and how they work in mission. So as much as I wanted to increase the volume so you could hear the action, it's best to just to lower the volume. Now moving on to Mesa. And I'm a little bit over the hour marker, but I'll just give Mesa a good 5 minutes. I won't even go into too much talking with Mesa. I'll just point out Mesa's essentials more than anything. Where is she? Okay. Okay, so this is the Mesa Warframe, and I'll pick which was the one. Okay, so I'll pick this one and accept. All right, so the basis for this Warframe's base abilities is this. It's not good at all. She's not an energy conserver Warframe. She doesn't conserve energy very well. So you have to, and the main reason why she doesn't conserve energy very well because she uses up a vast amount of energy just to use her abilities and to kill enemies fast. So because I know this, you want to have every single energy mod you could probably have on her, or at least you want to have two energy mods on her, and then have Arcane Energize in the corner. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to, I mean, and if you don't want to have two energy mods on her, because you need two efficiency mods. If it's not two energy mods, it's two efficiency mods. So as this basis, um, this is her ability kit without any mods on. 25%, 25 energy, 50, 75, and then the fourth is 25. But the fourth is drained per second. So you want to knock that down to about a 4 or 5. So her base kit is good. This is an all-rounder Warframe, and this Warframe is considered one of the best Warframes. Just like Sarn, every single thing within her kit works. So everything works here. Her ballistic battery works. Her shooting gallery works. Well, it works sometimes. Shadow Shield works, and Peacemaker works a lot. So ballistic battery, I would say is somewhat good. I would say ballistic battery may be the weakest. Or maybe no. It's ballistic battery, yeah. Ballistic battery is her weakest, but it's very useful because the damage is stored, and then next time she uses an ability, it goes towards the bullets, her shotgun, or her gunshots. So every time she uses her fourth, the damage stored from ballistic battery will go into her fourth ability, Peacemaker, or whatever melee weapon, or I mean not melee weapon, or whatever pistol weapon she's using. Now let's see here, shooting gallery, extra damage while jamming the guns. Okay. Development, a barrier of energy reflecting back incoming damage. Yeah, so everything in her kit works and is necessary for her survival. Um, you could say that the first ability doesn't work, and you could say that if the first ability does work for you, then your third ability doesn't work for you. Or you could say the same thing for shooting gallery. If you're more a ballistic battery and a shadow shield, then you can say shooting gallery is pointless to you. The point I'm trying to make is 3 out of the 4 works, and if 3 out of 4 works, that means this is a high level Warframe. Typically, the standard Warframe are 2 ability works. The standard Warframe are typically 2 ability works and 2 don't work so much. Here, 3 ability works and 1 don't work so much. That's why this is a high level Warframe. You could take this Warframe from mid-level to high level easy, or you could just keep this Warframe in high level, like you keep Sarn in high level. So yeah, now that that's said, I'm going to go to the mod section, and mod based on everything I know. And this is a good setup, but it's not the greatest, but we're not going for great, we're going for all-rounder. So you need a decent amount of range for an all-rounder Mesa. So that's what we're gonna go for. But you don't need ridiculous range for all-rounder Mesa. So standard 100 is always good. But if you want to increase it to like say 145, That's also good, but you don't really need it. If you really think about it, you only need like, if you think 100 is weak, then all you really need is 130 most for an all-rounder. Maybe don't, not even. Maybe you should just keep the 100 and you'll be Gucci. But let me look at it this way. Yeah, so this is what I had as a setup. I didn't concentrate on range because she has decent range even if you minus out her standard 100 range, like I did with this, 85 range is still good. So I'm keeping this, but this is at I want her to be at 175. 4 is good, but let's see where I was with regards to this. 85. 3 is good as well, but the range is bad. Let's see here. If I remove this, it will go worse. Yeah, it will go worse. The duration is the main thing. Duration is the main thing. If I put this at 155, I could increase the range. So at least at 100. But no. Duration is the main thing. Damage multiplier is bad. Even at 130, damage multiplier is bad. That's why I had it at this. But his range is just bad, bad, bad. All his types are bad. So I really have to think about it, think about it, think about it. Now, the only time you need Missile Waltz is when you're in a sticky situation. You have to move left and right. That's if you're fighting enemies that are above level 100. If you don't need Missile Waltz. So here's where I kind of get a little good sense of range that worked to my advantage. So now I got this here. Now let's see my duration. Would I still be in the 100s? Yes, I am. I'm still in the 100s. Multiplier is 2.51. Drain is 3.75, which is good. I mean, it's good, but it's not great. Duration, if I only increase my duration more without taking away from duration. Actually, you know what? I know what I'll do. I am going to... I know what I'm going to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do. This might be the closest I could get. Might be the closest I could get it. Let's see. Let's see. And I don't need Streamline to be the full 9. It could be 8. That leaves me with one last duration or range. Or maybe damage and range. Damage. Yeah, damage. So I can increase that multiplier. So I don't have to cap out too many bullets. If I have more damage, if I get like at least 200, I'm solid. I'm solid if I have 200. Almost there. Almost there. Not quite there. Man. Well, okay, so if I had in like say if I had in something like steel fibers, I'll be able to put steel fibers in here, put steel fibers here, which will increase my armor. So I'm tempted to put transient in, just to see what will happen. But I know it'll get me the 200 I want, but I know it'll also reduce my duration. And I'll need to increase that duration period, but duration period will decrease my range even further, and it's no good. Um, that's no good. That's no good. It's no good. It's no good. It is no good juju. None whatsoever. This is the closest I could get it, man. It's the closest I could get it. Let's try this. See what happens. This goes up by 1 second. Jeez, man. Best to just increase power strength if that's what's going to happen. But here's the thing. 4.32 energy per second is not something that you want to do at all. Yeah. The only thing that makes sense, man, the only thing that makes sense is the duration. I can't see it. I really can't see it. I need to drop it to that 375. Or I need to, I mean, if I'm not going to put that there, then I need to have the efficiency to be there. But it will still be 3.775. So might as well not even put it in if it's still going to be the same. So that's where I put in prime continuity in, because it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I'm going with this. I'm going with this. Screw it. I'm going with this. This isn't good all-rounder anyway. About the only bad thing about this is her armor. But you don't need to worry about armor with regards to this Warframe. You just need to worry about one thing and one thing only. How long you keep on her second abilities, how long you use her third, and how long you use her fourth. Because they're all energy based. So that's something to consider. So we're going to do quick missions as well, because I need to jump off this and hop
You
onto
have
Revenant.
loyalty issues, Tenno. My Zanuka project will fix that for you.
So this will be my last mission here, and then I could jump onto Revenant. Because I really wasn't supposed to be on Warframe today, but I knew for a fact that I didn't want to wait till tomorrow to get rid of all 3 remaining Warframes and speak on them. And these are all rounders, just like I said, which means they're not tanks. They're meant to do every single mission in the
V's
game.
newest prototype is a monstrosity forged from the bodies of our fallen Tenno. We cannot allow Zanuka
Well,
to go into full production. Destroy Alid V and his horrid pet. The assassination target is nearby. Seek and destroy. If Alid V is victorious today, he will dissect your Warframe and use the pieces to build more of his pets. You must not let this happen.
You have loyalty issues, Tenno. My Zanuka project will fix that for you. Oh, have you come to make a donation to my newest enterprise? Excellent. Please report to my lab for reconstruction. Oh, if it's your friends you're looking for, you're welcome to place a bid for my newest Zanuka prototype. Oh, I've been looking all over for you, Tenno. Come, let me show you my new venture. I think you'd be a perfect fit.
The assassination target is here. Wipe them out.
Market forces dictate that you need to evolve or die. Which will it be, Tenno? Neither I nor our
Target down. Assassination contract complete. Great work, Tenno.
You have.
Okay, so I just wanted to show the abilities based on the Warframe Mesa. So as you saw in the mission, the first ability allows me, once I cast it once, allows me to, while it's staying active, to soak up damage from enemy bullets. So I'm going to cast it once. First ability. Now once that's active, it has a duration period, or if you check the ability, it's not really based on duration. I keep thinking about another ability. So it's based on damage and buffer timer. So I have to wait to take a certain amount of damage. Once it gets to like 170, I have a certain amount of buff. I will have like 8,500 buffs. And I activate it again. When activated, this power stores damage. The damage then channel through the next gunshot. Now for the second ability, since the first is still active, or did I take it off? Yeah, it came off once I start taking damage from leeches. So I'm going to put it back on. Oh no, I'm completely wrong. I just took it off. Alright, so now I did just put it back on, so that's the first ability is on. Now I'm going to put on the... Now I'm going to use the second ability. So I just need to find a couple of enemies to do the second. So this enemy is now affected. So this enemy can no longer shoot its bullets or anything at me. So I could go as close as I possibly can to the enemy, like this enemy, and the enemy will be stunned for a while. See, it's working on every single one of these enemies. It's not 100% proof, but it works on, it switches back and forth between enemies. So it's not like it's an ability that works on every single enemy all at the same time. It just switches between enemies. So it's based on, if you're running in front of you, it'll switch from one enemy to the next enemy when you're running in front of you. So that's the only sucky part about her second ability. So there's that. Now, the third ability is shield. So basically, anytime she takes damage or anytime an enemy tries to hit her, the bullet or the damage is reflected and go in a different direction. So if I take direct physical hit damage, it doesn't 100% goes towards her. Some hit her, but others do not. So the more you increase the overall physical damage, the more this becomes more potent as well. But for an all-rounder, she does not need that much energy strength or power strength in order to get a decent amount of reflection from the third ability, which is Shatter Shield. It says envelop Mesa in a barrier of energy and reflect back incoming damage. I mean incoming bullets, bullet damage. So it says bullet damage, so anything that's projectile basis also work as well. So it doesn't technically have to be 100% bullet. It could be just projectiles. If it's not projectiles, she can't deflect it back. But it's more like it's any projectiles. It's not just bullets. So yeah, damage reduction is at a good 95%, which is excellent. Um, Duration is excellent as well, and radius is decent. It's not great, but it's decent. That was the first, second, and third. Now, if you notice, if you're looking at the bar at the top, you saw once I started to get hit, I immediately turn on my second in order to stop enemies from hitting me, and then I turn on the third to increase my reflection of damage, incoming damage, and first. Typically, you want to throw on your second and then your first, or your first and then your second, and then use the third. Now, obviously, the fourth ability is something I already did before, so I'll show it anyway. The fourth ability is the most powerful ability of all, because Mesa, just like Volt and like Excalibur, um, is one of the highest DPS Warframes in the game. So with this high DPS frame, you get off a lot of damage real quick, real fast. And the best part is that she's a 360 DPS damage. So even if she's standing in one place, she could turn in any direction and shoot. So that was it. That was all three in a nutshell. All three Warframes: Korra, Mesa, and Nyx. That's all I gotta say. That was the kit. That was the setup. This is the all-rounder. I'll show the all-rounder again for her, just in case anyone wants to see what the all-rounder is and want to modify this all-rounder. Now, keep in mind, it is an all-rounder. It's not a tank. It's not something you use to solo. It's something you use as a support towards other characters as well. It's not something simply used for CC, because CC is a singular thing, just like tank is a singular thing. They can support in their specific categories. A tank can support in its own way, and a CC can support in its own way. But an all-rounder is meant to be both a CC and a tank at the same time. Now, the only thing that doesn't make this thing that much of a tank is armor. But like I said before in previous streams, if you're using powers in order to increase your survivability more than you're using armor based and health, then you don't need armor. If powers is what you're using to achieve what you need to achieve. Now, in all truth, this Warframe requires 175 efficiency. So in this case, even if you're not going for a tank, but you want to go in for something closely related to a tank, but you want to kill fast more than you care about range or you care about being a tank, that's when you have something like that's when you have something like this. So yeah, the range is garbage, but but the drain is 6 and the multiplier is still about the same. So it really depends on what you're looking for. But the drain is 6 now based on efficiency, which is great. 6. That is awesome. And drain per second is 3.75, which means that's the lowest it could go. Um, so even if I take off Streamline, it'll still be at 3.75. So it's up to you if you want to keep that on. You don't really need it because it's already at 3.75. Even with a fleeting that's not at 160, like see this fleeting is missing at least one bar. Everyone is all of the little dots at the bottom will fill up except for one, and it still says 3.75. So yeah, if you want to keep it here, that's fine, and then increase your range, that's good. But if you don't care about that, you want to increase power strength, that's also good. And there you have more power strength. So now you have 195. Two nine one. No. Let me check that again. Damage multiplier. So that's just a slight amount. It's not even good enough, so might as well take it off. Let me check it again. Yeah, that's just a slight amount. Might as well increase range if that's the case. So yeah, so that's it. That's all I could think of. Unless you want to remove this and put Prime Footed on. Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense. I mean, based on what I'm seeing here, I mean, it went down to 2.332. So it's not that great, but if you're fighting extremely strong level enemies past level 100 or not even level 100, you know what? So you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need Prime Footed. What you need is more aura, efficiency, and strength towards pistol. So put that there. 27 damage. With this, will be 35 damage. 35 damage plus effectiveness is 15. Here is 15 power strength. Plus knockdown. Effectiveness. The effectiveness of the aura. As well as the strength. So that seems to be more best for the situation than simply power strength and knockdown. So yeah, I would want to have more power to, so this could be high, and so my multiplier could work. It'll be 250. As much as I want to give more power towards the pistol, I got to get my ability strength up to the range I want it to be, or at least to the rating I want it to be. But I think I don't know, man. I think coaction drift is better in certain sense. Belly strength or not. 15 belt. No. For some reason, it's telling me coaction drift is better. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this. Let's look at that 155. You just can't break out of the fact that that's not good, man. I want to get it as close to 3 as I possibly can. As close to 3 as I possibly can. But I know I'm not going to make it. I was thinking maybe if I just had transient. Won't work anyway. Yeah, it won't work anyway. So, yeah. Let's see what we got. It should be the same. What am I talking about? Now put this. This is the closest I could get to 3. The closest. So with this setup, you have a pretty tanky Mesa, as well as decent range, but not that great a range, to be honest with you. Decent efficiency, decent power strength, and that's it. Originally, I want this to be stated at 100, but yeah, no matter how I look at it, this is what I see. No matter how I look at it, this is what I see. So I got to end it here, man. It's 2 hours. I was planning on this to be just 1 hour, but no matter how I look at it, um, I want it to be an all-rounder. And at 79%, that's not an all-rounder. That's minus. Um, the only thing I want to be in the negative is the armor. I want to keep it at 125. But everything else, I want to have at least a decent amount of range. But my multiplier, I want it to be up in order to kill enemies fast as well. well, like I said, it's not based on that much of range. It's based on the amount of people it's connected to. So it switch off between enemies. So let me go to Syndicate mod and see um, what I could see. Stagger shield. Okay. Fleck bullets, muzzle flash, shooting gallery. That's the 6 kills. That's the 6 kills. After 6 kills. Assist by a player with a shooting gallery. After 6 kills, assist by a player with shooting gallery. Misses. Next shot will blind enemies within 12. After 6. So it has to be 6, otherwise it's kind of pointless. Ballistic bullseye. The shot gains percent final critical chance bonus based on amount of chart. Let's see. Stagger shields. Was stagger enemies base 50 chance. Where is ballistic battery sounds better. Yeah. No matter how I look at it, this is what I see. This is what I see. I really want that 100, but this is what I see. I need that multiplier. And I know for a fact, even if at long range and shooting gallery affects an enemy, um, the second ability just switch off the various different enemies over time. It's not like you cast the second ability and it affects everyone within a cone, like Volt or like Sarn or something. It doesn't work that way with Mesa, so it's just distance in front of her. So 79 is probably good for distance as well. Um, yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm calling it a day on this. I don't think there's anything else for me to do. And efficiency is good. Power is good. Nope. That's what I'm going with. This right here. If this doesn't work out for you, if this doesn't work out for you, then um, if this does not work out for you, then use. If it really does not work out for you whatsoever at all, then switch to more range. And if that doesn't even work out for you either, then switch this out and put adaptation on. 'Cause that's probably the reason why you're going to be dying a lot anyway. Um, by putting adaptation on. So with adaptation on, and then you can put in the slot right up here. You put the power drift for the 179. Range, duration, range. Yeah. So Now that now that I saw what I saw, and I realized I didn't have on adaptation either. Um, yeah, it would be impossible for me to give it more range because I need efficiency, I need decent amount of range, I need the duration, I need prime flow, I need power strength, I need continuity that for powers could not for this, but for duration, for it to be almost a full minute. Envelop Mesa in a barrier of energy reflecting back incoming damage. So I guess I don't need it to be a full minute, like almost a full minute. Um, but let me see what I'll get if I do this. Hmm. Come on, come on, come on. Let's look at that again. That drain is terrible. And that's another reason why it's important to have duration, a lot of duration. Because now look at this. It's three. It went from 5 to 3. Yeah. It seems to be the best setup right here. Because I don't want it to be at 5. I want that drain to be its base drain, and it can't go below 3.75. So with prime continuity on narrow-minded, I was able to get it there. Adaptation for survival, stretch to increase range, efficiency needs efficiency in order for it to low down the amount of energy required. And then there's yep, yep. This is what this is. All right, so that is my Mesa setup. This is my Mesa build. I mean, I completely forgot about adaptation. I was thinking about giving it a 100, but now I realize there was something I was missing, and it was adaptation. So you put adaptation in here, you put prime sure-footed in here, and you're golden. Or since you're fighting most normal enemies, you put coaction drift here, and it will boost this by at least a good 30 plus or 35% or more. It would basically give this more damage. And if you really don't want to do that, you want to have base 15. You don't want to improve, which is kind of silly anyway. You should really put coaction drift there. You can put a power drift. You don't want coaction drift, but you really should put coaction drift or prime sure footed here and leave this as it is. Yeah. Yep. So this is it. This is it. I can't think of anything bad to say about this. If I remove this, I get more drain from my energy, which I need for my fourth. If I remove this and reduce the strength of me doing damage with my fourth, if I reduce this, I reduce my health. If I reduce this, or I don't have this on, I'll take elemental damage and possibly go to my death. If I remove this narrow-minded, that means the duration period from prime continuity is going to be low, which means once again um, the drain per second is going to be high. If I remove this prime flow, I won't have enough energy from prime flow to keep casting abilities over and over again. And if I don't have on fleeting, I won't be able to conserve said energy from prime flow. So everything in here is 100% needed, and the only thing bad is the range of 79. And I guess you could say the armor, but like I said, her armor will be based on her powers of her shooting gallery and other factors within her powers to keep her alive. Not so much the physical need for wearing armor. So fleeting is okay. In fact, Yep. All right, so that's it. That's it for this video. That's all I could think about. I mean, if you really don't want to put in adaptation, put in more range. Put in this. Put this in to get this all around. And if you really don't want to do that, then put in something like steel fibers to increase our armor. But like I said, it's pointless to do that because, well, giving her like 262 is not going to do that much against enemies that are very strong. So you're kind of wasting your time with something like this. And of course, you don't need range that much because once the enemy's within a certain range, they're going to be affected. What you want is for your enemy to be affected, to stay affected by your powers, um, so that it will affect them and make them do things that you want them to do. Yeah, I can't think of anything, man. To be honest with you, if I up this, yes, I'll increase my power strength and increase my multiplier. But if I don't put in if I don't put in something like Mesa Walls, or if I don't put in another mod like steel fibers, and if I don't put in or if I don't put in adaptation, I'm screwed. So you want that one slot to be available for anything you want to put in for an all-rounder. And of course, you put coaxium drift here. So this is the build. This is the build for Mesa, for an all-rounder Mesa. Yes, the range is not that good, but this you could use this for an all-rounder to do anything with Mesa, from level 1 enemies to level 100 enemies. Beyond level 100 enemies might be a different story. I always have Arcane Energize on, and always have another Arcane that do more damage towards pistol as well. So yeah, that's what I would say to do. And if you don't want to have more energy from Arcane Energize, put on another pistol Arcane. So you have two pistol Arcanes giving you more synergy towards pistols. But typically I would put on Arcane Energize because this Warframe soaks up a lot of energy. So just have on one pistol is good enough for this Warframe. And yeah, this is the build. And I got to get out of here because now I'm supposed to hop on Revenant from the Ashes. So yeah, that was the three Warframes. That was Korra, that was Mesa, and that was Nyx. And yeah, now I'm stopping this, and I'll take a 5-minute break, and then I'll jump on to Revenant from the Ashes.